There we go. Sabiyah, thank you for joining us today. How are you?
Of course, I'm doing well. How are you?
Thank you. You got to watch everything back last night. Let me know how are you feeling this morning about everything?
I feel like the only word that really like popped in my head when you said that was relieved. Because of course, of course we know, what's gonna happen, and of course we know,
Right.
the sequence and stuff, and we're just waiting for the fans to get a chance to, experience it with us. And the resounding, thing is, oh man, Sabaya, you went out so soon, but it was such an epic exit. So of course, like I was just so anxiety ridden, going in like, okay, are the fans gonna agree with y'all? You know what I'm saying? Because y'all are my friends, but these guys don't owe me nothing. So I feel like, it's been, onesie twosies that kind of are like, like that was stupid, da 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 da. But you really don't know until they get a chance to see it. And I've been happy with it.
Well, honestly, I was really surprised at what happened because you were one of my picks to go to the very end because
Oh,
you seem to have everything like a good survivor has. You had like the physical, the mental, you had the great social game going on. Let us know because I'm curious what went into targeting Caleb because he was a close ally of yours, right?
okay, yeah. So the way that everything, got chopped up and stuff, it appeared that Caleb was my number one. But
Right,
actually, he was my number two. Sean was my number one.
right.
Me and Sean were very, very close from the jump. We didn't get as much, airtime, but we are talking, we're laughing. We have very similar backgrounds. He comes from conservative Christian background, being Mormon. I was raised in the South, I was Christian, coming up, and then we're both, LGBTQ. In the education field. Both of my parents are teachers, so we have a lot to talk about. Um, and we spent a lot of time together, which ultimately made Caleb suspect of us and caused him to build his insurance, with Emily.
Yeah.
And I've had talks with him, and he said that that was kind of like the initial thought. He's like, I can't be a number three. And
Right.
I'm like, okay, yeah, like I didn't know that he felt like a number three. I was doing my best to make sure that he didn't feel like that, which is what you see on camera. But ultimately, that's how it was.
Now looking back, what worked, what made Emily take Caleb's place in that? Like again, we saw you guys, had your ups and downs, and then you came to like you really did come together, near the
Mhm.
end of your time there, which was really interesting journey.
Yeah. Well, I love Emily, and I said it in my confessional. Like, for the record, I don't dislike her. She's making it hard for me because
Right.
she's so skeptical, about everything. But I felt like if I could just get her to trust me, we could be a very amazing duo. Like people don't expect us to work together.
Right.
People have already expected us to be enemies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, and then Emily, I mean, she's a stock analyst. Like I'm a Marine. You know what I mean? Like I need some of that. So I mean, I was putting my stuff aside, and I'm just like, I mean, I work with people all the time that I
Yeah.
have nothing in common with. Being in the military, that's normal.
Right.
So, if someone has a little bit of an attitude, whatever. I work with
Yeah.
Marines. That's normal. I'm laughing at half the stuff that she's saying. I'm just like, wow. You can see in travel, I'm just like, oh, this girl is hilarious. But ultimately, it was just the social threat from Caleb going to
Right.
Reba, getting all the information. He literally had an itemized sheet of Drew is like this, Julie's like this. He got a one-on-one talk with everybody. And that shocked me. That really kind of like woke me up to how big of a threat. I'm like sitting next to a sleeping lion. And I was just hoping I could slay him while he was sleeping. But little did I know he's awake already and he's, conspiring with Emily against me. He was kind of playing the middle so early on. And that was
Right.
genius. That was genius.
Now, last night we got to see a bit of your barbecue skills, and because you
Ah,
really cooked that idol, you really cooked that. You were
yeah.
tasting it and checking it. Now,
I think it's so funny. They're calling me the grill master. That's hilarious.
maybe this will turn into another line of work. You never know. But
Hey, you never know.
how now? Obviously, we only get to see 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the entire tribal council. How long did it take for you to get that idol? And how long was that tribal council? Because a lot of people don't realize it can go on for an hour, 2 hours. How,
Yes.
I mean, and again, you're sitting there doing this in front of everyone.
Exactly. And it was so nerve-wracking. I mean,
Right.
there's so many, things going through my mind, but it took about like 20, 25 minutes to get
Wow.
all the way through. And all of our travels were about an hour, all of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you have like all of the stuff with Hannah in the first one, that took a long time for us to
Yeah.
decide to let her go. Then with Brandon and his stuff, I mean, that was our first time even having people go up to the voting booth, but it was still extensive because there's so much going on, even in this first couple of days, and we can't win. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of that type of talk. And then with my situation, at one point, we're just sitting there waiting for it to just melt. Like, Jeff is just like, can we just all take this in? Because this is crazy. And I'm just like, yeah, man. Like, I mean, I'm not going to take my eye off of it. I want to
Right.
pay attention to what's going on. But, God forbid it can bust into flames. I don't know what this stuff is made out of. I'm
Right. Right.
hoping that, it was such an unprecedented moment. So we're really making it up as we go.
Right. Now, as a Marine and your entire background, I mean, you're obviously a fierce competitor. You have that mindset, that's part of you. And here you
Mhm.
are thrust into a game and you're losing and you're losing and you're losing. How
Yeah.
hard was that for you? I mean, not only are you losing, you don't have any fire.
Oh my goodness. Mentally, I had to kind of just put winning out of the question. And
Right.
I feel like that was another reason why, Caleb's name came up. Because it's like,
Right.
okay, you want to keep people on board for challenges, but if
Yeah.
you ain't winning with them, it sure as hell don't matter if you lose without them. So
Yeah.
I'm, your mindset starts shifting. The more tribals you get under your belt, the more you start your decision making is no longer surface level. Like, as a
Right.
fan, I feel like, my decision making for what I felt like the players would do would be from the surface.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like it was crazy, but it takes me back to kind of like when I was in high school. My freshman year, we had a merging of some high schools. We ended up being
Right.
put in like a hodgepodge type team with no chemistry, and we went over at Locust Grove High School. Well, my freshman year we played, we went over. We had 0-25,
Wow.
and I was averaging like 12, 14 points a game. I had double doubles, like six. I had like a newspaper paper article with like six straight double doubles and stuff like. So I'm putting up points, but it don't matter because it's a team sport. So
Right.
I fortunately just kind of had that experience already early on, and I
Right.
knew the only way to get through it was with a good attitude and just try to have a short memory.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
I asked this to all the survivors that I talked to because, again, we only get to see a small portion of your entire journey and what you go through. Is there anything that you wish the producers had included, whether it was like a moment with somebody, strategizing gameplay? Is there anything you wish they would have shown more of when it comes to your personal journey?
I feel like I got a lot of airtime, so I don't want to be greedy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I had so many. I'm so thankful for them even highlighting me this early, knowing that I'm going out. It's amazing. But I will say that I wanted to maybe like me and Emily when we had good moments. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So me going to her wouldn't have seemed like such a Hail Mary because we did have good moments. We had moments on the like walking, making the shelter and stuff like that. I did talk to her. I'm like, hey, like I know that we're just two strong women on the same tribe, but we can work together. I'm not against you. I told her that in the beginning when we were building the shelter. I remember that conversation. And then even with me and Sean, like we talked about, like us laughing, us getting our relationship together to the point where he's no longer my number two. Caleb is now my number two. That shift, I feel like people didn't get to really experience that in real time.
Right.
So it was kind of made it seem like I was just making decisions for me
Right.
instead of with the relationships that I had, going forward. So, I mean, all in all, they do the best they can. I know that they shoot like over 300 hours worth of footage, and I mean, they are great. Matt, Hudson, Jeff, love y'all.
Yeah.
Um, but it's just like, hey, what are you gonna do? They have to do it for the story, and it's a great story. Y'all are gonna love it.
Now, one final question. When you were
Mhm.
standing at the voting booth and you had that decision, how hard was that to decide whether I'm going to keep my vote or you know what, I'm going to propel this immunity idol for myself? How hard was that decision?
It was the hardest decision I've ever made. And I knew that it was either this is going to go amazing. And I'm going to be the biggest legend of the new era, period. Even if I went home the next tribal after
Yeah.
that, it's like barbecue and idol, bank my vote, keep the idol going. And that's what we want, as fans. Like
Yeah.
I've been a fan so long. It's
Right.
like you want that moment, like, aha, like I did it, and that's really what kind of fueled me, was just kind of getting to like the point where it's just like, am I gonna risk it for the biscuit, or am I gonna play it safe? And I hadn't played it safe the whole time. I mean, you
Yeah.
see me volunteering for Sweat and Savvy. You see me, risking with the Beware Advantage with Brandon. You see me, telling Emily about my idol. Like, so y'all had to know I was gonna risk it. You know what I mean? Like, unfortunately, you win some and you lose
Yeah.
some.
Well, Sabiyah, I want to thank you very much for taking the time with us today. I really do
Or
hope we get to see more of you, because I really thought, honestly, that you had everything, in that package to make it to the end. It was a wonderful journey, and you got to take this home. At least you had your moments and made an impact. And I don't think people are going to forget a lot of what you did on the island. So all the best to you. Can't wait to see you on the finale, Sabiyah.
thank you so much, Don.
Yeah, take care and have a great day.
All right, have a good